Look at this beautiful new map. Look how smooth the contours look. It's almost as if you could glide up and down the hills. Up to the Skyline Trail, go along for a few miles, come back. Well, let's see what it looks like on the ground. At the Pinnacle Meadows trailhead, heading up to the Pinnacle first and then the Skyline Trail. In the Putnam State Forest on the east side of the valley that Stowe is in. So we're not hiking the highest ridge line, but we'll have a view of it, which is maybe even better. And it's pretty high too. We're on an old logging road or Forest Service road headed up. We just made a little turn down there and headed back east-southeast and up the hill. And now we're taking a sharp turn and heading pretty much north. Looking at the north end of the ridge. There's a nice look off. And there's the Sterling Range. So here's Mount Mansfield, eastern side, Sterling Range north of it. And here's a plaque for everyone that contributed to conserving the land here next to the Putnam State Forest. Glad they had the vision. So just after the clearing, we've taken a sharp right turn up the hill and very nicely through the woods. Okay, we just crossed a little dry brook here. And just a bit beyond that, we have this, which looks like a trail junction, but it isn't. So we've definitely been climbing the hill since the clearing and traversing along it a little bit too. Didn't mention that the weather today is ideal. Not a cloud in the sky, but more importantly, low humidity, and the temperature in the woods here feels like about 60, which is fabulous for the summer. Some nice trail work here. One little wet spot. So we had a slight height of land there, going down just a bit, kind of a lateral traverse, and we've got a cliff above us here. So here's the trail junction. We go up more steeply from here. There's the trail coming up from the lower Stowe Pinnacle parking lot. Just came up a rock staircase. Okay, we had a slight flat area and then we're steeply up again. Okay, that appears to be the end of the really steep part. Leveled off a little bit here. Vista that way. Here's a vista off to the left or west of the trail, looking over at Bolton Mountain actually. So we're headed over a little saddle on the top, Minor Col, heading to the east around the top. And we continue around the shoulder of the mountain, a little ladder. And now headed down some nice steps here, losing a little elevation to get around the mountain. Okay, we came down the side hill, going fairly level here. And Let's see where we go next. A little sign for the trail. Still on the side hill. Heading up just slightly. So we came up a short pitch there. And just a little bit more up here. So the Pinnacle's over this way, 0.2 miles. And the Skyline Trail is that way, 1.1 miles. So we've been going up a little stairway here. Getting close to the top. Up a little more. Another little ladder. Okay, come up a little more of a scramble here. Getting to the rocky top. We have a nice rocky summit here. We're looking off to the northwest here. In the north. And here's the Worcester Range again, right next to us. Mount Hunger's behind. The peak anyway. And the top of the Pinnacle. What a nice view. There's Camel's Hump.
Casey, don't say this. If you know it, don't say it.
There's the valley, the Stowe Valley.
Under the water, and 24.
Bolton Mountain.
And 24 heads came up. We were driving by. I was like, guys, what's going on?
Mount Mansfield.
I know it.
Sterling Range.
Not the ice cream at this
But the numbers go
campground
up.
we're at is better than the ice cream.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sore.
They have a soft serve.
Okay, now we're going to
Please don't do that.
head right up here. Head along the ridge, maybe over to this peak. Seems to be unnamed. Back again and then down. Just want to take a look at the Skyline Trail. Okay, now we'll go up to the ridgeline Skyline Trail for a little while. Been a very nice, gradual, steady up so far. I imagine it will have to get steeper at some point. Something really nice about this trail, you can tell that it doesn't get a lot of use. And the grade is such that it doesn't have a lot of erosion. Some trails that are used a lot, even at this grade, are all turned into just rocks. This is very nice. Okay, a little more steeply up. Slight flat and then up again around the corner. So we're coming up the hillside pretty steadily now. A little switchback. So as a small landmark, we have a small boulder jumble here. And right away another little switchy. And we continue the traverse to the northeast. We have a fungus hotel or condos. And steeply up still. I'm thankful just sitting here that while they could burn, our woods are moist enough that they usually don't. And just feeling grateful that we don't have to worry about what they have to worry about in California right now. So we've been coming very steeply up the hillside, and it would appear that the trail would go right up through here if it kept the same grade, but not so. Head off to the left, actually go down a little bit. And 40 feet later we head back up the hillside. Now into a bit of a scramble, just a short one. And along the hillside, and up. Just lovely up through here. Find myself at another switchback. Whoever these landscape architects are, I think I'm going to hire them. Here's a level lookout, looking down at the trail. And another switchback here. I'm coming up pretty steeply now. Straight up the hillside, but I am seeing daylight. So we're now at a height of land that you can see from the pinnacle, about 3,300 feet vertical, or 3,300 feet of elevation here. And now we need to go down just a little bit and then up to the Skyline Trail. I appreciate the little touch in the middle of the trail. It's dry right now, but it might be really wet sometimes. And this is what makes trail walking fun sometimes. When you're on the top and places can get a little boggy. And we've gone up just a tad higher than we were before, and I can see the main ridge lines over there just a little bit more, another half mile or so. And the top of Mount Hunger is over there. And we're going down just a little bit now. And down into the coal. It's a very nice trail through here. It is not used very much. I'd be surprised if anybody else has been up it today. This is probably what the long trail looked like about 80 years ago or so. Really pristine. Just put up about 6 or 8 partridges. I'll wait and see if any more go. I think they all went together. It always makes you stop for a moment until you realize what it is. Pretty overgrown right here. Oh, there we go. 2 more. Could be more than that. Sorry to disturb your feeding or whatever you were doing, guys. So we've been going slightly uphill ever since the partridges. Little height of land here, and I think we're headed down just a little bit. Now we're winding our way slightly uphill through lots of ferns here. Steady up the hillside now. Oh yeah, now we're going to go up the hillside a little bit here. There's a little cave, a little shelter, maybe a den in the winter. So this is probably the gnarliest place on the trail, mostly because it's wet. But you see, if you go up to the right, there are places to jam your foot in. There's a mini ledge about halfway up. And there are lots of roots to pull yourself up at the top too. They're nice and firm. I first tried the left-hand side, and the very strong root up to the left, and you can reach up higher on that. But I'm not good at just pulling myself up on one root. I would want something higher than that to grab onto, and there really isn't anything. But if you have a strong leg push, you could pull up on that root and then push off with your right leg on the other root. But I think the right hand side is easier. So I just came up through a really gnarly part that I showed from below. Stay far to the right on the way up, far to the left on the way down. There are plenty of roots to hang on to. Getting near the top, and it's not quite as steep now. So we're going to go up just a little bit more. Seeing daylight, I think we're going to be at the ridgeline pretty soon. So I believe we're on top of the ridge, have to work our way over to the Skyline Trail. It's kind of on the east side. You can feel the wind coming up here, very nice. Sunny day still. And looking back down the trail that I just came up, here are the signs. Parking lot, 2.7 miles down that way, a few thousand feet. Mount Worcester that way, Mount Hunger that way, and then there's a peak in between here on Mount Worcester, and I might head over that way just to see what the trail's like. But that way to Mount Hunger if you want to do that. Certainly do a nice loop. Come up this trail, go over to Mount Hunger, go down the Mount Hunger trail on the west side. That would be a good loop. Probably be better to come up this trail that I just did than go down, although I'll be going down it too. Wow, I've gone about 30 feet and this is what the trail looks like. This is not well traveled. This is not the long trail, but it's about the same height. And getting here took about the same effort and probably gives the same rewards on this trail. There aren't any lodges up here, that's the only thing, so it has to be a day hike. Not many sources of water either. Continues to be a pristine trail. Not many people walk through here. You can tell where the trail is, but that's it. Gonna head down to the col. It's probably a mile just to the next peak and down into the col and back up again, and then I'd have to come back up this hill, so I don't think I'm going to do that. Got serious about going down here too. Nice ladder. So we're just a little further on here, and you can see that there is some water on the trail here. There are no ponds, and I don't see any streams. This goes right down, not really to a col, but to a ridge, a sharp ridge. And so, even if they wanted to put a lodge up here, it doesn't look like there's a reliable water source. So, just have to do it for day hikes, longer or shorter, strenuous loops or less. Not bad for that. It's a beautiful rock here, a lot of mica in it. When I first saw it, it was so shiny and white that I thought it was ice, and I said, no, that can't quite be this time of year, even though it is a little cooler up here. So back at the trail junction, there's the Pinnacle Trail. We go to the right or south for a few hundred yards and just see what this trail heading towards Mount Hunger looks like. Maybe just see woods, but we'll find out. So almost right away we're heading up a short hill here, and I see some daylight, so maybe there's a little view up there. I'll take a look. More short pitch and kind of level. A lot of trees though. I don't know if it's going to be open. Just heard a raven, but now I've made too much noise, I guess. So there's the alt summit that you can see from the pinnacle. So the pinnacle's down below that. I can't really see that from here. Hear a raven in the distance. This may be all the view that I'm going to get from here. There isn't a real clear look off, so. It's Mount Mansfield over through the nose. Love the sound of the wind. Skyline Trail just continues through. It's very inviting. It says come this way, but you need to turn back. And here's a really old sign I didn't even notice on the way up. Hunger Mtn, that way. This tree is just massive and it hangs over the trail. And someday it will fall. But for right now, it's quite healthy, thank you. So we're back at the Pinnacle Meadow. It's almost 6 o'clock. Here's what it looks like now. It's been a beautiful day.